Today, Howie Roseman quoted from the book of Dingbat, chapter 11, verse 11. For the draft there is many spoils. Let us go and gather these things for the North Dakota assassin. Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here. So today we have come with the hell is that? It's a big ass dog. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. You know, Howie Roseman spoke today for the first time since free agency began, and I thought what he said was pretty interesting. There were some things that I agreed with, there were some things that I didn't agree with, and some things I thought he was just saying because he had no other choice. Now, we're going to get into that in a second, but the first thing I want to talk about is the Eagles changing their uniform, or at least adding an alternate uniform. There was an article yesterday saying that it looks like the NFL is finally going to allow teams to have more than just one helmet, meaning the Eagles can then have an alternate uniform going to Kelly Green, which is what I've wanted for years. It's so bad that I'm at the point now that I only want to buy Kelly Green stuff because me being an older Eagle fan, I see the Eagles as Kelly Green. I miss the Kelly Green. I wish it never went away, but it is what it is. Now, I love when they wear the black uniform. That's awesome. I would like to keep that, but I mean, personally, I would like to see them just modernize the jerseys they already have. Maybe add Kelly Green back into the color scheme, something like that, but they're not going to do that. And the only option I have is an alternate uniform where maybe they wear it once or twice a year. So be it. At least I could buy Kelly Green stuff, and there'll be more options for me. Maybe Carson Wentz jersey and Kelly Green, all those kind of things. But it looks like that's getting ready to happen because I guess Bruce Arians was on an interview and he was talking about the Bucs having an alternate uniform and another helmet, and he was saying, well, after 2021 they're going to change the rule, or in 2021 they're going to change the rule, and we're going to have multiple helmets. So maybe you'll see that, you know, that creamsicle old Tampa Bay jersey. So I'm like totally psyched about this. I was hoping to get it in 2020, but if I have to wait one more year, whatever, I can do it. But I just want Kelly Green back really, really bad. I do. When they played with Vic, and I want to say 2010 or something, the home openers, and they wore that Kelly Green, I was just like, oh my God, I need this. Every year, if you know me, every year I do like 2 videos a year on why the Eagles need to switch back to Kelly Green. I just did one not too long ago, so I'm not going to spend tons of time on it again, other to say that I want Kelly Green back. I'm very excited about this, and I hope that this happens. It's got to happen. I've committed to only buying Kelly Green at this point. I want the old Eagles uniform. This color, that's the Eagles color to me, okay? More so than that. But, I mean, I don't hate that, but I love this, so I want it back. And it's been very confusing, the whole thing, because you see other teams, right? And they'll have alternate jerseys and different helmets, and you're like, well, they got a different helmet. But apparently what it is it's not the actual helmet. The helmet is the same color. It's that they're just changing the decals. And the Eagles, they would have to change the whole base of the helmet. So that's been the issue, but it looks like it's finally going to change, and I'm just excited about it. Had to get it out there, had to share my excitement with you guys because we got to bring Kelly Green back. So over the last 24 hours, we've heard a lot of Eagles rumors starting to take place, starting to heat up. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like, but I wanted to share a few of them with you guys, mainly because we're going to be doing a live stream later on today, and I think they'd be interesting to talk about. And hey, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, because you definitely don't want to miss these live streams. We have a lot of fun in it. We talk football, we talk all sorts of things. It's nice to come, hang out, get your mind off all the things going on in the world. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell. You definitely don't want to miss hanging out today. And when we do hang out today, we're going to talk about some of these rumors. First rumor out there right now, Rasul Douglas getting traded to the San Francisco 49ers for wide receiver Dante Pettis. I think this is an okay trade. I mean, maybe it's a depth piece at wide receiver. He's got some speed, but I'm like, whatever. I was hoping more to use Douglas as, to get draft picks to move up in a draft day trade, that kind of thing. But, that's one of the things out there. Another thing out there that I read, I think it was heavy.com, and they were the only people who had the article, by the way, so I couldn't find it anywhere else. But they were saying that the Eagles could be closing in on a deal for Demarcus Robinson, the wide receiver of the Kansas City Chiefs. If this is true, this would not surprise me at all. He's a guy that we've all heard that the Eagles are targeting. He would probably be pretty cheap. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's young and he's getting better. And he could be a decent pickup for the Eagles at a cheap price. The one that really intrigues me the most is DJ Moore. There's a lot of talk that the Carolina Panthers could trade DJ Moore, primarily because they just got Robbie Anderson. And if the Eagles, if they could do this somehow, some way, I'm all for it. I mean, I love DJ Moore. I love them coming out of Maryland. But, if the Eagles could get him, they got to get him. I would give a second-round pick for him, like a second and a fourth, something like that. But if there's any chance that the Eagles could get him, you got to do it. He's still at 22, 23 years old. So that's the big one that I'm really trying to keep my eye on, because there was, I forget what the source was, but they were saying, like, he's going to get traded. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm open to the idea, especially if it's the Eagles. There was an article the other day, yesterday actually, and they were saying the Eagles' plan at wide receiver is to bring in young guys that Carson Wentz can mesh with really, really well. And DJ Moore is one of those young guys. And if you're going to bring anybody, any veteran from any other team in, and you want to bring a young guy, a DJ Moore would be that perfect guy. Now, in this article, they were saying that the Eagles had talked to, other teams, veteran wide receivers, and they really kind of decided that, hey, we need to get young guys that could come in and mesh with Carson Wentz. Not guys that have done things another way on other teams and then come in and butt heads, but we need to get young guys. And they're pretty much saying that the Eagles are going to get their receivers, they're going to get their weapons in the draft. And I'm totally okay with this at this point, unless you can get a trade for like a DJ Moore or somebody like that. With everybody off the free agency board, yeah, just save it for the draft. Just go in first two rounds, draft wide receivers, draft a wide receiver in the first round, maybe first and third. Get at least 2 wide receivers, okay? That I have no problem with. My issue with the Eagles and with Howie Roseman, who gave an interview today, and I was listening to it with Dave Spadaro. He was talking to him. Some of the things he says concerns me. They concern me because he was talking about how they view their receivers better than some of the fans view their receivers. And that's great. I mean, you picked them. But you gotta be aware. You have to be aware, if you're Howie Roseman, of how many receivers you've missed on. How many of them you've actually missed on. And yes, of course the fans are going to be skeptical. We haven't seen you hit on any receivers. And I'm not so sure that you have as good of wide receivers as you think you do on a team. Of course, Deshaun Jackson, 33, he's good. Alshon Jeffery, he's got a Liz Frank injury. He's going to come back at some point during the season. He's not going to be 100%. How good is he going to be coming back from injury? And let me tell you, it sounds like Alshon Jeffery's coming back. Sounds like he's coming back, because what Howie was saying was, like, he has, Alshon has a lot to prove. He knows what everybody's saying. He's very motivated. Great. Okay, fine. Look, to me, the reason why I'm ready to move on from Alshon had nothing to do with the rat. Well, it did have something to do with the rat and the locker room stuff. But to me, he's slow, and he has a Liz Frank injury, and he don't look right. But if he can come in and play at a level he did in 2017, fine, as long as he can get along with Carson Wentz, And so when I hear Howie talk like this and say these things, I think back to the press conference he did at the end of the year where he talked about getting younger, getting faster. And it's like, okay, you'll do that in other positions, but you can't ignore that at wide receiver. Now, I know Alshon Jeffery is a money situation, and I get it. And I'm okay keeping Alshon Jeffery. I'm not going to lose my mind keeping him, as long as you get the right receivers in the draft. As long as you make the big splash in the draft, go get a top 3 wide receiver. That's what I'm talking about. You do that and you keep Alshon, okay, at least I feel like we have a security blanket. At least I feel like we have somebody for the future. But You can't play around with the wide receiver position anymore. You're entering your quarterback's prime years. You can't mess with it, And he says, oh, well, we want to get Carson weapons and stuff like that. And I think this draft is going to be all about Carson Wentz, all about weapons. And look, if you trade up and you got Henry Ruggs or Jerry Jeudy or somebody like that, and you have Alshon Jeffery there, okay, I can deal with it. We're good. Deshaun Jackson on the other side, okay, we're good. But we got to remember, we have 33-year-old and a 30-year-old. You have Arcega-Whiteside, who, okay, maybe he was banged up. Maybe he'll improve this year. I hope so. I sure the hell hope so. I really do. But he's going to have to show. He's going to have to show it to me. He's going to have to prove it to me. So I think the Eagles, I think their plan is exactly what we've talked about all along. Free agency defense, then you go draft, you go offense. I think you are going to see the Eagles take a ton of weapons in this draft. I think wide receiver first round, wide receiver probably second round or third round. I don't even know if they're going to go defense until like maybe round 4. Like, seriously, I think with the amount of defensive backs that they've gotten and everything they've done, I would be shocked if they go corner in the second round. I know they're not going linebacker because they never go linebacker in the first or second round. Hardly ever, okay? So Howie was talking about Alshon coming back, so I now think that's going to happen. But he also talked about, we're still trying to get receivers. But, he kind of said, talked about the salary cap, talked about those things. And it's pretty much, he pretty much was saying, we're going to get our receivers in the draft. So I'm okay with that. There's a lot of talent there. Just get the right guys. That's all I ask. I just want the right guys. And I hope Alshon Jeffery is motivated. I hope he comes back healthy. I hope he comes back and he double moonwalks everybody's ass. I would love to get on here and say, Alshon looked healthy this year. He was faster this year. He looked like he lost some weight. He looked ready to go, and he's been a great player this year. Thank God we kept him. I'm glad I'm wrong. I would love to say it. I want to say it, But coming back from a Liz Frank injury can take time. It can slow you up, and we just don't know, But no matter what, if you keep him, if you don't, if you have the right receivers that are rookies, then we're good to go. I want guys who are going to play with Carson Wentz for the next 5 to 8 years. If we get that, I'm happy. But Howie's going to have to hit on these picks, and history says that they really haven't. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. I like pretty much everything Howie said. The only thing that concerned me is, is putting too much stock and too much faith in some of these guys that they have on the roster at receiver, because I just don't trust it. That's just the truth. I just don't trust it. But we're going to see. As long as they go heavy wide receiver early in the draft, I'm good. And we'll see. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. And remember, I will be live streaming later on today. Come hang out with me. We're going to talk about this, whatever else transpires from now until then. I should be on between, I want to say 6:30 and 7:30 Eastern, 3:30, 4:30 Pacific. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you'll know when we're streaming. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.